Hello everyone, John Galloway, Toprock Real Estate here, bringing you another fun lesson on real estate today. Today we're talking about fix and flips. A lot of you have questions about how we underwrite flips, about how we think about flips, and so today's video is just designed to kind of help you guys think a little bit better about how to go about flips, how we budget for flips, the model that we use, and kind of how we think about these projects. Um, my background is a construction project manager. I used to build renewable energy power plants, really big solar farms, as we call them, before meeting some friends of mine who were break dancers who were flipping houses. And since I met them and we got together, we flipped over 50 houses in Denver. So we know what we're talking about. We've got it lined up. It's like an assembly line for us. You know, paint colors are picked, fixtures are picked, and a lot of our finishes are already decided before we buy the project. So if you have any questions for me, if you want to talk about flipping, if you want to talk about investing or buying your first home, you know, I'm always available. I'm going to throw my phone number up right here. Guys, call me, text me, you know, email me, but, you know, feel free if you're watching this video and you just want to spend some time talking to me, text me. My calendar link is also in the bio below. You can set aside time with me immediately, but, you know, why wait? Just text me right now. My number's right here. And I'd love to hear from y'all. So anyway, focus of today is to talk about a flip. Currently got this listed on the market. It's one of our most recent flips, and it's really like easy bread and butter. I think if you're starting on flips, one of the best things to do is to buy a cheaper condo in a tertiary market. You know, it's going to be simpler on you. HOAs can be expensive, but really they can modulate a lot of the risk for you when you're going into flips. So anyway, this is the house pro forma that we use to sort of determine whether things are a good investment. I got this house pro forma from adventuresinCommercialrealestate.com. Spencer Burton, really, really smart guy, has a lot of models, anywhere from apartment acquisition value add models to flip models to single family build models. He's a modeling guru, as they say, and is really intelligent. So go check him out. Their website's great, and you can download these models. It's kind of like a pay-as-you-can thing. So if you can donate $5, great. If you don't have any money to donate at the moment because you've maybe just started, that's okay too. You can download them for free. Okay, all right, let's get into it. So whenever we're going to underwrite a house, you know, we just need to gather some like basic details about the house. Okay, so with that in mind, this is a picture of the flip in its final form. I'm going back over this model for you all after we've finished. So just a heads up, a lot of this is assumption when you're buying, but once you get into it, you can kind of go back, put in your actual numbers, and it's really cool to see kind of, oh, were we close on flooring? Were we close on, you know, some of these other scopes? Okay, so we are looking to purchase this home at the beginning of September. That's when we bought. So we're going to put in a September 1, 2023. Next thing is your hold time. Hold time is super important when we talk about flips. Real estate is always, or at least in the best case, dependent on leverage, right? So what affects our numbers? Construction costs being more than we estimate, closing costs being more than we estimate, and financing costs being more than we estimate. So really, when we go through the model, we like to do what's referred to as sensitivity tests, where we say, okay, if we hold for 4 more weeks, is the model sensitive to that? If our remodel costs go up by $10,000, how sensitive is the model? We want to kind of understand through a sensitivity analysis, what is the model most sensitive to, right? Because that's the thing that we want to make sure that we control the best when we're constructing or working on a flip. Okay, if we have a really high interest loan, a hard money loan, if we have a really high balance on that loan, for instance, a $500,000 loan, right? Or let's say $520,000 loan at 10% is $52,000 in interest payments a year. Well, $52,000 in interest payments a year is $1,000 a week, guys. So if your margin is slim on a project, Let's say you're riding on a $15,000 margin. Well, with a 520,000 10% interest only loan, you're highly sensitive to a hold period. So if you're 4 weeks into a contract that's supposed to close and you lose it, and it takes another 6 weeks to close, well, that's a 10-week marketing period, and that marketing period has cost you $10,000. So it's just really important. We've watched people really lose themselves inside these flips. Every flip is a new project. Every flip is a new opportunity to either make a lot of money or lose all the money you've already made. And it happens. It happens all the time, guys. So just be really careful, and understand that certain things can affect the numbers more than others. So anyway, that's hold period. We expect to hold this for about 16 weeks. This is a really easy flip in our minds. We're thinking that the construction period will take maybe 3 weeks. I think I've actually got 4 weeks in here. I think that in total we'll hold it for 16 weeks, which means our marketing period is going to be for 12 weeks. 12 weeks or 3 months. Things used to really close. We could do a flip door to door in 100 days during sort of the higher seasons where the market was a little more competitive. We've done that plenty of times. These days, I'm not thinking that we're going to do it that quickly, so we've always sort of laid out like a longer hold period just to make sure that we're safe inside of our numbers. So just be careful. This model is really cool in the sense that it tells you what day you'd sell. So Merry Christmas for us in this sense. Okay, this property's, we name it just based on the street. So this one's on Fairmont Street, 855 Fairmont, unit G101 is the property. It was built in 1979, so we really like to do things that are newer than 1980. That's really like if you want to avoid the most problems, copper wire, some asbestos, lead-based paint. Newer than 1980 is really where we're at. 1979 is kind of good enough for us, but just think about that. If you're new, 1980s or newer is really kind of the bread and butter. It's where you're going to avoid the most risk. Okay, it's a small home, 701 square feet. It's 1 bedroom, 1 bath. It has in-unit laundry, which is really great, and it's also on the first floor, which is really great. If you're going to sell a 1 bedroom, 1 bath condo, we prefer a first floor condo. If I'm in a high-rise building in some of the more urban neighborhoods like Cap Hill, I really like to have a condo that's not ground level. But in this context, in a low-rise, 1 bedroom, 1 bath, we actually find that a lot of people really like the ground level. But it depends on the neighborhood a lot. In this case, I think that it's going to be better that this one is low stairs, or no stairs in the unit, versus a second floor that maybe has more stairs and is just a little bit more of a pain for some buyers to get in and out of. The remodel on this project is relatively simple. Total remodel cost, I've got an estimate with contingency of $13,585 is where I'm at. And that includes contingency. So real quick, just want to talk project contingency, guys, that's here. Contingency is a project management term that's used for us to estimate unknown costs that are associated with the risk of the project. So contingency is generally a percentage of the total budget and is designed to cover for unknown unknowns. So if I don't know what I'm going to run into, but I know that every construction project has things that they run into, it's really important for us to have a contingency number. It just protects us, right? In the case where an electrical panel is way worse than we thought it was, or we get hail in the middle of our hold and we have to replace a roof, but we have a 1% hail deductible, or we get a buyer who we really like and we would really like to sell to, but they have a lot of needs, and we end up using some of that money for seller concession. So always have a contingency. If you have a relatively straightforward project like this one, which is relatively straightforward, I limit the contingency to 10%. If we have a larger project with a bigger remodel with a lot more unknowns, right, we're probably going to make that number, 20%, 30%. And that contingency number can be fluid, y'all. If at the beginning of the project I have not really de-risked it, I may have a 20 or 30% contingency number. And as I figure out, okay, get a sewer scope, is the sewer good? Get a roof inspection, is the roof good? Get an HVAC inspection, is the HVAC good? I can start to, reduce that contingency from maybe 30, 25% down to 20, 15, 10%, right? It's just really a definition of risk. How comfortable are you with the project? How comfortable are you with these numbers? And are there things that we don't know currently the status of, but we know they could be cost items, right? And so those are just normal things like systems. Have we checked the roof? Have we checked the HVAC? Have we checked the sewer? If we haven't, we may need to keep a higher contingency number in there, because we just need to know if I have 20% of my costs that end up in my budget for things that I don't know, does that break my whole project? And if it does, well, then I need to start to de-risk the project. I really need to know more about the sewer. I really need to know more about the roof, because we're just rolling the dice, in a risky way, in a very risky way, if we're buying projects with big unknowns without a large contingency in place. So contingency is really important. Every budget that you do should have a contingency in it. If you don't, you're just setting yourself up for failure, really. So, okay, real quick, just going to go through these numbers real easy. $500 for demo, that's a nice and easy number. You can usually get either some hourly labor or somebody with a dumpster to come through, or a trailer come through, pick it up. $500. If it's really messy, if we really have to demo a lot of stuff, that number can go up. Generally, demo is one of the cheapest things at the property, and really it can just be some guy with a truck that can come pick up the trash. Just one note for everybody, we always want to make sure that people have certificates of insurance whenever we work on our project, even if it's a small guy with a truck. I don't want to say that, just pick them up on the side of the road. If they hurt themselves, or if they hurt someone else while they're on their job, they need to be properly insured. So always pull COIs, even for really small contractors that you think it maybe doesn't matter. Windows, this $1,200 window number represents a slider. We were considering putting a slider in at this property. Sliders can range depending on where they're at and what type of building. 1,200 is a really good number. We have really good window people. You can pay upwards of $1,500, $1,750, $2,000 for a slider, just depending though. Electrical, we just have this figure in here in case we replace the panel. That's what this number is for. Flooring, we just have a really simple flooring job on this project. We're just stitching together some flooring and extending so it's seamless. It looks really, really good. Actually, the whole thing looks like it was one piece initially, but we're just replacing that. And then we're going to do some carpet in the bedroom. It's likely that this number will go up a little bit when we get to our final figure, but initially we had just kind of budgeted $250. HVAC, really interesting. This project, the HVAC is on the roof of the building. So if you wanted to replace a small AC unit, you need to rent a crane. This is an example of something that you really need to figure out when you're going through your flips. You need to understand, are there certain things that you've never encountered before, but that may be very expensive? Okay, the way we figured this out is I spoke to a broker who had another project in the area. He had just sold it, and he said, yeah, man, everything was really fine, except when we went to sell, we realized that the HVAC is on the roof. It's a pretty old HVAC, and the buyer wanted over $1,000 just in case she had to rent a crane to fix that issue. So, it's not something you encounter. We think, oh, we've got a little flip, oh, we need to replace a furnace. Do we need a crane? In some cases, you absolutely do. And so we always want to be diligent. If you're ever in the middle of a flip and you're thinking, should I lean into diligence around these items, or should I lean back and let it take care of yourself? Every time you lean back and let it take care of yourself, you're increasing the odds that you're going to be taken. And this is money at the end of the day. Flipping can be very risky, and flipping can really, really cost a lot of money if you're not looking at things. If you had asked me, do I think I need a crane to replace the HVAC on this project, I would have said, no, probably not. But we were diligent, and we figured out that we needed to actually include a big number in here in case we had to replace the HVAC, right? It's little things that can really, really get you. And you just don't know about it without experience. So that's why I'm here, to help you guys, to help make sure you understand that there are things that you may never have encountered that will really catch you by surprise, and there's no way out of it once you're in it. Okay, paint. Really small paint number. $700. There's already some nice paint in there. I think we're going to do a little two-tone paint. You'll see that in the listing if you look at it. It's really, we've got great painters generally, and if you've got a better paint number, please tell me in the comments. I'd love to know what y'all are paying for paint. For a 3-color, really nice paint job, we're talking flat white on the ceiling, semi-gloss white trim, eggshell for the walls, whatever color. In this case, we're moving away from the gray and sort of into more warmer undertone whites is where we're at. Appliances, sometimes we go with brand new appliance packages. This property already has some, nice stainless steel appliances. We ended up purchasing some really great appliances on Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace is a great place to grab used appliances. The fridge, for instance, in this house is a brand new fridge, a French door refrigerator that someone bought and they just couldn't fit in their house. So it's an over $1,000 fridge. They didn't know what to do with it. We picked it up for a couple $100, just moved it, threw it in the flip, just myself and my colleague. So really easy. The buyer of this house is going to get an over $1,000 fridge, and it didn't really cost that much to actually put it in. So that's not to say, hey, go out and buy the crappiest appliances you can to throw in your flips. You can get really nice appliances that are just open box, and people will be happy to sell them to you. Okay, bathroom. Simple in the bathroom. We just did a brand new vanity and threw on a new light fixture. It can be relatively cheap. If you're going to refinish tile inside of the bathrooms, there's a special way to do that, and if you're interested in it, it's way better than retiling. Text me, and I'll let you know where you can find those, and I'll walk you through kind of the process. All right, cabinets. $1,000 for cabinets. We ended up spending a little bit more than this because we wanted to do a nice two-tone cabinet. At the end of the video, by the way, I'm going to run you through pictures of the flip, and we'll talk a little bit about kind of what we did and what we looked at. But cabinets are really nice. One thing that we're bringing from, really nice high-end flips, we're kind of putting in, sub $300,000 sale flips, is this two-tone cabinet. It's like really beautiful. You're seeing it a lot in really nice upscale homes and sort of those finishes. Everyone deserves to feel, like their house is a beautiful house. And this is just one of the ways that we kind of do that at a lower price point. It's a cabinet refinish, not a brand new cabinet, but we put in soft close hinges. We replace all the pools or install pools if they're not there, and the cabinets get prepped and refinished, and they're really, really pretty at the end of the refinish. It looks new. Countertops, $1,500. This is just for square edge white quartz counters. We feel like they look really good. The quartz is a really nice product. And then in addition to that, one thing we've been doing that's really cool is instead of a full height backsplash, subway tile or some other type of tile, we've just been having the countertop guys throw up a countertop full height as the backsplash. And it's really easy. It's relatively cheap, and there's not as much prep work, tile and mortar work. It can really be a pain to get a handyman or a tile person to come in and install tile in your kitchens. That can be kind of difficult to do, especially if you're trying to line them up with the other contractors. As best we can, we try to simplify these scopes. So if I can have my countertop person come in, throw in the countertops, and then the very next day come back and put up the backsplash, and it's seamless and it's beautiful and it doesn't cost that much, that's actually a really great option, and it's what we've been doing in the last couple of our flips. Okay, so that gets us to our contingency number. This is, at this point, just a 10% of the sum of the rest of the numbers. That comes out to $1,235. Okay, so this model also has sort of start and end weeks. That's just a way for you to sort of plan your cash flows. Say, hey, week 1, if I'm going to pay, in a straight line method, if I'm going to pay for this sort of stuff, I need to have, $1,200 the first week, $2,300. That's not always how this gets, and we would get into maybe a more manual or a realistic version of this in another lesson. But for here, I've just straight lined everything. This is really just for you to plan your cash flows. To say, hey, I need $201,438 to purchase. What do I need week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? It's just some cash flow planning. Most of this business, all businesses are all about cash flow. So if you're not used to money management, you need to go ahead and get used to it, because finances, accounting, bookkeeping is really one of the most important things when you're running a real estate business. If you're not on top of it, the numbers will get away from you. You will not know how much you made, and you will screw it up. So just be really diligent and really tight with your figures. When you've finished with the project, you need to go ahead and do your closeout accounting, calculate all your returns, and make sure that you can distribute profits in a way that is realistic, right? If we think we made 50 grand, we distribute 50 grand, but we actually only made 20, well, that's a big problem. And if you don't know that, you're going to be in trouble. Maybe not on this project, maybe not on the next one, but eventually you will lose a lot of money. Okay, so total project cost. This is the total of our purchase price, our loan fees, our other closing costs, and then all of the remodel, right? We're estimating that our, rough basis in this property is about $215,000. Again, this is a pro forma. The difference between a pro forma, right, and like a really in-depth model would be that some of this is an assumption, some of this is back of the envelope. I'm not listing out individual closing costs. I'm just estimating the closing costs at 5.5%. So these numbers are rough. This number is just giving me a gut check. Am I going to buy this? Am I good? So just to say, you can get much deeper into the weeds in terms of a settlement statement, in terms of really pulling, what was my title insurance cost? What were my total real estate taxes for this year? That does need to be done, but just not at this stage. Okay, right. The way that we purchase a property, we have two sources. We have debt and we have equity, right? The sum of the debt and the equity, that's our capital stack, right? If we have a primary mortgage, a secondary mortgage, and then 3 or 4 equity investors, that represents our capital stack. That's just the total capital that we need to purchase the property, right? If someone says capital stack to you, it's just, how are we going to capitalize this project in full? It's debt, it's equity, it's all kind of the cash that we're bringing to a property. So for this, we have a hard money loan. The hard money lender charges 8% interest only. We've got a great hard money lender, and 1.5 points. So if someone says to you that my hard money loan is a 10 and 2 loan, what does that mean, right? That means that your interest only hard money loan is going to cost you 10%. That might be due not weekly, that might be due monthly, that might be due quarterly. It might all be due at the end of the project. It just depends on your hard money lender and their specific terms. Ours is a 8 and a 1.5, right? So that means that they charge us 8% interest. That's here, interest only, right? And their loan fees are $3,225. That's just 1.5% of $215,000. $215,000 is our purchase price, all of our closing costs, and pretty much all of our remodel costs as well. So the hard money lender can and will, in certain cases, lend the purchase price plus the remodel costs. All of them have different terms. This hard money lender is really comfortable lending a lot to us because we just performed for them a bunch. But a lot of them will require 80% of the purchase. They will do a hard money loan plus 100% of the remodel. The remodel cost will get escrowed or will be on a draw schedule, right? So you spend $10,000, you submit receipts and progress information to the lender to say, I now would like to draw on the $10,000 that you've escrowed for me as a rehab escrow, right? And that's just the way that hard money lenders protect themselves is by saying, hey, we're going to give you 80-20. If I give you 80% of the purchase price and you don't do anything, if I have to recapture this property, I'm still safe. We're basing this based on the after repair value, which is more than what you're purchasing it for. So I am going to be able to give you some of the rehab costs, but you need to go ahead and do the rehab. You need to go ahead and add the value. And then as value is added, I feel more comfortable, releasing additional funds to you because I'm safe at this point. If you fixed, the property, it's worth more now than it was, which means, if I have $190,000 loan, I can release another $10,000 and still feel safe as a hard money lender. So that's kind of how it works. If you have real questions about hard money, like I said, I'm going to say it again, just text me. Here's my number. Text me and say, hey, John, I saw your video on YouTube. I'd really like to talk about hard money. I'd really like to talk about making my first investment, doing my first flip. how can you help me? I'd really love to help you. So here it is. Just text me. Okay. So that's the kind of the capital stack. The sources here, this is just talking about what is our, senior mortgage loan, our first position mortgage loan, and then how much equity. This model can model out GPLP, that's general partner, limited partner, sponsor, investor returns. So if you're at the level now where you're going out and raising money, if you have friends and family that want to invest, but they're going to rely on you to deal with the project, you would be considered a sponsor. The person with the cash would be considered the investor. At this point, that's a GPLP designation as well. We can change this 80, 20, 10. It could be that you're putting up very little of the capital, the investor is putting up 80%, and then there are fees associated with that on the next page. For this one, we have no investors. We are sponsoring it 100%. Now, because of our hard money lender, really, we're not putting in too much equity, which means that the return is going to be pretty good. So our uses right now, purchase price 198,213. That's loan fees plus our purchase price. Our loan payment 5,292. So that's going to be our interest only payment, plus our loan fees, and construction costs. So essentially saying, hey, 220,315 is what we think we're going to use all this money for. Our sales assumptions. Okay, when do we sell? The week information is pulled from up here, right? What is our sales price? Another property, once we were under contract, sold for $269,900. So we're thinking we're going to get at least $267,500 for this. What are our closing costs? I've got 5.5 here. I'm going to be the broker on this deal. I will do it for a little bit less. We're going to offer 2.5% to the cooperating broker, and then we consider like another 1% or so in just general closing costs. So net proceeds from sale are going to be $252,788. So if we flow through to this report section, we talk about the net profit to partners, which is going to be $32,473. Just for this flip, in this example, we haven't sold this one yet. We don't know for sure that this is what it's going to do, but this is what we're thinking. So these average annual returns for flips, it can be kind of tough, especially if you're not investing a whole lot of equity. This looks crazy. It does look crazy. It's not like really that crazy. Obviously, you can't do 100 projects and get 2,000% returns. Like that's just crazy. But when you have such a short timeline, when you invest such little equity because you have a pretty good loan on the property, this average annual return is going to be really pretty high. But really, I like to just focus on the net profit, which is $32,000. The equity distributed is going to be closer to 38, but that just includes the equity that we've already contributed, right? The net profit to partners is our equity distributed minus our equity contributed, because that is our net profit. So this project seems like it would do pretty well, and that's why we picked it up. We usually have a hurdle rate of 40%. The really cool thing about this model is that you can have a target return here. Our target return is 40%. Obviously, we're doing pretty good. If I was to hit this run finder tool, it would make the return 40%, and it would say what's the max purchase that we can do on this project based on the information that we've got, right? And so that adjusts this purchase price to $217,710. So I would say that we're in a pretty good space to hit 40% returns, which is our hurdle. We need to buy it for under $217,710. We are purchasing for much less than that. So yeah, things are all good in that way. Okay. Let's go over to the listing. Okay, great. So this is what it looks like at the end. It turned out really, really good. So we talked about the two-tone cabinets here. These pulls are brand new. This fixture is brand new. We've got new appliances, this really cool little low-pro microwave. We've got a new range, new French door refrigerator like I was talking about. This is the bit of floor. that we ended up stitching together and extending. You can see the two-tone paint here. This fixture is also new. We've got really light staging. When we do flips, we really want to do kind of light staging, especially in this price point. We don't need to go overboard, but we do need to make it look pretty good. We didn't paint the fireplace white. I know a lot of people dislike that, so don't drag me in the comments, please. We just kept it the way it was. And sorry guys, I'm just having some trouble with photos loading, so we'll go into Redfin. Okay, cool. All right. All right, thanks for bearing with me. Sorry about that, y'all. All right, so yes, we sort of repainted the walls here. This is the previous paint. We just thought it looked kind of good with the two-tone, so we kind of left it alone. Obviously painted the ceilings, new light fixture here, painted all the trim. Here's another view of that kind of two-tone paint here. It looks pretty good, honestly. Another view of our kitchen. You know, these cabinets look very nice. A lot of people love this sort of refinish. The upper cabinets were already this color, so we just sort of did some touch up here, but otherwise they looked good, so we just kind of painted the bottoms. New sprayer fixture. This is a really cool sprayer fixture. I can get this for a third of what it costs at Home Depot. If you want to know how, reach out to me and I'll give you the link. We installed a new vanity here, as well as this kind of new mirror fixture light, and then also just redid all of the bathroom hardware, right? Just looks nice, new chrome kind of pieces. This tile was already this way, this tub was already this way. It was already really nice. We just kind of made it, did some nice touches just to make it clean and make it feel kind of new. New carpet in the bedrooms. This carpet is really nice. It's a speckled carpet for some reason, and I don't know if you all agree with me. If you have carpet knowledge, please let me know. This is a speckled carpet. It's not an incredibly expensive carpet, but it is a really great carpet just because it wears really well. There's nice, expensive carpet that I walk into, you know, $1 million homes, and I see it and I'm just like, I hate this carpet. It's going to wear terribly. You know, it's low pile, which is nice, but it just doesn't hide a lot of imperfections. You know, we always want to go hard surface if we're looking for longevity. But in the bedrooms, you know, a hard surface can feel like sort of impersonal. You know, like, do you really want to walk around with house shoes and socks on? It's the wintertime, it gets cold here in Colorado. Do you really want to jump out of bed onto the cold floors? I think we all know that like shiver you get in the middle of the night when you get up to go to the bathroom and you step on cold floors. So really we like carpets in these sort of more intimate spaces, like the primary bedroom, and the speckle carpet is really nice because it just hides some stuff. These people aren't going to move in and immediately destroy this carpet. You know, it can take some wear and tear with the speckle, and it hides a little bit better than a solid carpet that maybe wouldn't. So it's just one way that we flip houses and are just thinking about, you know, the buyer at the end. How are they going to experience this flip when they've lived in it? Well, this carpet is going to do good for them for, you know, a long time. this is just one of those cool features that sometimes you buy properties and they have these awesome features in them already. These really cool IKEA built-ins. It's a really awesome walk-in closet. This is going to be a perfect place for somebody who has a lot of clothes, shoes, whatever. Okay, so that's pretty much it, y'all. I totally appreciate it. Thank you so much for sitting here and listening to me talk about flips. We love doing flips. We're really quite skilled at them. If you are interested in learning more about how to flip, I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to help you get your first deal. We're really involved with the wholesalers. We know the neighborhoods. We really know what works. And everybody, I think, is kind of, if you're interested in real estate, you want to know kind of how to flip houses, because if you find the opportunity, it can be a really great way to sort of be inside of a real estate career, to get in and out of a project without being married to it for years and years and years, like a rental or like an apartment building. Um, I really enjoy making spaces beautiful, and I like to have a house and to keep my finger on the pulse of things that are nice like this. And so flips for me are a great way to stay involved in industry. It's a great way to continue relationships with contractors that we really like, just to maintain preferred pricing on some of our other asset types, like the apartments, like the office buildings. And who doesn't like a brand new, fully painted, beautiful home? I live in one of our flips because I believe in the product that much. That's kind of what you're seeing back here. And so, yeah, I'd love to help you underwrite the flips. I'd love to help you think about it. I'd love to help you buy home flip investment number 2, 3, 4, 5, or 10. I've got the experience, I've got the knowledge, and I'm easy to work with, which is something that not everybody can say. So thank you. If you like this content, if you want to continue to help motivate me make it, please please subscribe. Check out our other social media contents. We've got a beautiful Instagram at Toprock Real Estate that I think you'd really like. It's funny, it's humorous, it's informative. Obviously, the YouTube channel is a great way to connect. But just text me, y'all. Call me. I'd love to hear from you. All right. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. And from everyone here at Toprock Real Estate, appreciate it. Thanks for watching the YouTube video.